Alright. I am at your mercy, Hassan.
How long is Songs of Experience? It's long.
Look here, Pussy. Come on, just read about the.
Fuck yeah, I picked it. Alright.
How long is this? Is it long enough?
This is Songs of Innocence and of Experience, showing the two contrary states of the human soul.
So, is that the title of the poem? The whole thing?
Yeah, I think so. Introduction. Hear the voice of the bard, who present, past and future sees, whose ears have heard the holy word that walked among the ancient trees, calling the lapsed soul and weeping in the evening dew, that might control the starry pole and fallen light renew. O earth, return, arise from out the dewy grass. Night is worn and the morn rises from the slumberous mass. Or mass, I guess it rhymes. Turn away no more. Why wilt thou turn away? The starry floor, the watery shore is given thee till the break of day. And part 2 is Earth's answer. Earth raised up her head from the darkness dread and drear. Her light fled, stony dread, and her locks covered with great despair. Prisoned on watery shore, starry jealousy does keep my den, cold and hoar. Weeping o'er, I hear the father of the ancient men. Selfish father of men, cruel, jealous, selfish fear, can delight, chained in night, the virgins of youth and morning bear. Does spring hide its joy when buds and blossoms grow? Does the sower sow by night, or the ploughman in the darkness plough? Break this heavy chain that does freeze my bones around. Selfish, vain, eternal bane, that free love with bondage bound. A flower was offered to me, such a flower as may never bore. But I said, I've a pretty rose tree, and I've passed a sweet flower, or flower o'er. Then I went to my pretty rose tree to tend her by day and by night. But my rose turned away with jealousy, and her thorns were my only delight. Love seeketh not itself to please, nor for itself hath any care, but for another gives its ease, and builds a heaven in hell's despair. So sang a little clod of clay, trodden with the cattle's feet, but a pebble of the brook warbled out these meters meet. Love seeketh only self to please, to bind another to its delight, joy in another's loss of ease, and builds a hell in heaven's despite. I went to the garden of love, and saw what I have never seen. A chapel was built in the midst, where I used to play on the green, and the gates of this chapel were shut, and thou shalt not writ over the door. So I turned to the garden of love that so many sweet flowers bore. And I saw that it was filled with graves and tombstones where flowers should be, and priests in black gowns are walking their rounds and binding with briars my joys and desires. I was angry with my friend, I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe, I told it not, my wrath did grow. I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears, and I sunned it with smiles, and with soft deceitful wiles, and it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And in my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole, in the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath a tree. My mother groaned, my father wept, in the dangerous world I leapt, helpless, naked, piping loud, like a fiend hid in a cloud. Struggling in my father's hand, striving against my swaddling bands, bound and weary I thought best to sulk upon my mother's breast. I wandered through each charted street, near where the charted Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down the palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlots curse, blast the newborn's infant tear, and blight with plagues the marriage hearse. The modest rose puts forth a thorn, and humble sheep a threatening horn. while the lily white shall live in love, shall in love delight, nor a thorn nor a threat stain her beauty bright. When the voices of children are heard on the green, and whisperings are in the dale, the days of my youth rise fresh in my mind, and my face turns green and pale. Then come home, my children, the sun has gone down, and the dews of night arise. Your spring and your day are wasted in play, and your winter and night in disguise. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What hand dare seize the fire? What shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain, and what furnace was thy brain? What's the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? Pity would be no more if we did not make somebody poor, and mercy no more could be if all were as happy as we. And mutual fear brings peace till the selfish love increase. Then cruelty knits a snare and spreads his baits with care. He sits down with holy fears and waters the ground with tears. Then humility takes his root underneath his foot. Soon spreads the dismal shade of mystery over his head, and the caterpillar and fly feed on the mystery, and it bears the fruit of deceit, ruddy and sweet to eat, and the raven his nest has made in the thickest shade. The gods of the earth and sea sought through nature to find this tree, but their search was all in vain. There grows one in the human brain. O rose, thou art sick. The invisible worm that flies in the night in the howling storm has found out thy bed of crimson joy, and his heart and his dark secret love does thy life destroy. Naught loves another as itself, nor venerates another so, nor is it possible to thought as great than itself to know. And Father, how can I love you, or any of my brothers more? I love you like the little bird that picks up crumbs around the door. The priest sat by and heard the child in trembling zeal. He seized his hair and led him by his little coat, and all admired the priestly care. And standing on the altar high, lo, what a fiend is here, said he, one who sets reason up for judge and our most holy mystery. The weeping child could not be heard, the weeping parents wept in vain. They stripped him to his little shirt and bound him in an iron chain, and burnt him in a holy place where many have been burnt before. The weeping parents wept in vain. Are such things done on Albion's shore? Dear mother, the church is cold, but the ale house is healthy and pleasant and warm. Besides, I can tell where I am used well. Such usage in heaven will never do well. But if at the church they should give us some ale and some pleasant fire, our souls to regale, we'd sing and we'd pray all live long day, never ever wish from the church to stray. Then the pastor might preach and drink and sing, and we'd be as happy as birds in the spring. And modest lame church lurch, who is always at church, would not have any bandy children, nor fasting, nor birch. And God, like a father rejoicing to see his children as pleasant and happy as he, would have no more quarrel with the devil or the barrel, but kiss him and give him both drink and apparel. A little black thing among the snow, crying, weep, weep, in notes of woe. Where are thy father and mother, say? They are both gone up to the church to pray, because I was happy upon the heath, and smiled among the winter's snow. They clothed me in the clothes of death, and taught me to sing the notes of woe. And because I am happy and dance and sing, they think they have done me no injury, and are gone to praise God and his priest and king, who make up a heaven of our misery. Is this a holy thing to see in the rich and fruitful land? Babes reduced to misery, fed with cold and useless hand? Is that a trembling cry a song? Can it be a song of joy, and so many children poor? It is a land of poverty, and their sun does never shine, and their fields are bleak and bare, and their ways are filled with thorns. It is eternal winter there. For where the sun does shine, and wherever the rain does fall, babe can never hunger there, nor poverty the mind appall. I dreamt a dream, what can it mean? And that I was a maiden queen, guarded by an angel mild, witless woe was never beguiled. I wept both night and day, and he wiped my tears away. And when I wept both day and night, he hid from him my heart's delight. So he took his wings and fled. Then the morning blushed rosy red. I dried my tears and armed my fears with 10,000 shields and spears. Soon my angel came again. I was armed, he came in vain. For the time of youth was fled, and the grey hairs was on my head. Little fly, thy summer's play, my thoughtless hand has brushed away. Am not I a fly like thee, or art not thou a man like me? For I dance and drink and sing, till some blind hand shall brush my wing. If thought is life, and strength and breath, and the want of thought is death, then am I a happy fly, if I live or if I die? Ah, sunflower, weary of time, whose countest the steps of the sun, seeking after the sweet golden clime, where the traveller's journey is done. Where the youth pined away with desire, and the pale virgins shrouded in snow arise from their graves and aspire where my sunflowers wishes to go. Children of the future age, reading this indignant page, know that in a former time love, sweet love, was thought a crime. In the age of gold, free from winter's cold, youth and maiden bright to the holy light, naked in the sunny beams of delight. Once a youthful pair, filled with the softest care, met in golden bright where the holy light had just removed the curtains of the night. There in rising day, on the grass they play. Parents were afar, strangers came not near, and the maiden soon forgot her fear. Tired with kisses sweet, they agree to meet when the silent sleep waves over heaven's deep, and the weary tired wanderers weep. To her father white came the maiden bright, but his loving look like the holy book, all her tender limbs with terror shook. Owner, pale and weak, to thy father speak. Oh, the trembling fear, oh, dismal care, that shakes the blossoms of my hoary hair. That was Songs of Experience.
Ooh.
Hella stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I need to reread that like 5 times.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, same.
There are a lot.
I mean, you can reread it throughout like any other time today.
Yeah, I mean,
I am sure there will be something that I find here that'll be like, sorry guys, but I'm just gonna reread this 10 times. Yeah. Or maybe like maybe you can reread like a section or something.
yeah,
Do you guys have anything ready?
Short.
Me too.
Mountain seclusion. I won't even stop at the valley's brook for fear that my shadow may flow into the world.
Can you repeat it?
Mountain seclusion. I won't even stop at the valley's brook for fear that my shadow may flow into the world.
Alright.
hey, what's a brook again?
Who was that?
It's like a small stream.
Ah, okay.
Dogan.
What page?
Page 214 of Moon in the Dewdrop.
Nice.
Okay. I'll read another short one.
Yeah.
I wanted to start on a positive note, so it's called Death. They die. The dead return not. Misery. Sits near an open grave and calls them over. A youth with hoary hair and haggard eye. They are the names of kindred, friend and lover. With he so feebly calls, they all are gone. Fond wretches all dead. Those vacant names alone. This most familiar sin, my pain. These tombs alone remain. Misery, my sweetest friend. Oh, weep no more. Though will not be consoled, I wonder not. For I have seen thee from thy dwelling's door. Watch the calm sunset with them, and this spot was even as bright and calm, but transitory. And now thy hopes are gone, thy hair is hoary. This most familiar sin, my pain. These tombs alone remain. That's it?
By the way, I'm just saying, because some of these are like whole massive poems and sections like what I just read, instead of reading like the whole thing, I'm probably just gonna because it's like in different sections. I'm just gonna imagine each of these as different poems. I'm pretty sure they are actually.
Yeah,
I think I just read a whole collection without thinking it was one poem.
Yeah, because that was.
This
I
is
mean,
hella long basically.
You guys still do that if you want though, but I'm also
because you kind of lose you kind of lose track of like
There's no point in having
the general thing if you sort
Yeah,
of.
unless you personally are reading it, as in like, yeah, to read out loud. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna read it only once, then okay, because it's impossible to get the whole thing.
Yeah,
for-
because then you're just taking it in.
But if you sort of commit to that poem, and like at some point you are like, for the next hour I'm just gonna commit to this shit. Like I'm gonna start everything with just sections, but if at some point I read a section that is like fucking awesome, then I'll just reconstruct the whole poem, maybe in a different order, and then I'll read it all at once, because why not, you know?
This is one called The Philosopher.
Yeah, fuck those guys. I hate them too. Carry on.
Fuck those guys. Enough of thought, philosopher. Too long hast thou been dreaming unlightened in this chamber drear, while summer's sun is beaming. Space sweeping soul, what sad refrain concludes thy musing once again? Oh, for the time when I shall sleep without identity, and never care how my rain may steep or snow may cover me. No promised heaven these wild desires could all or half fulfill. No threatened hell with quenchless fires subdue this quenchless will. So said I, and still say the same, still to my death will say, 3 gods within this little frame are warring night and day. Heaven cannot hold them all, and yet they are all held in me, and must be mine till I forget my present entity. Oh, for the time when in my breast their struggles will be over. Oh, for the day when I shall rest and never suffer more. I saw a spirit standing, man. No, I saw a spirit standing, man, where thou dost stand, an hour ago, and round his feet 3 rivers ran, of equal depth and equal flow, a golden stream, and one like blood, and one like sapphire seemed to be. But where they joined their triple flood, it tumbled into an inky sea. The spirit sent his dazzling gaze down through the ocean's gloomy night, then kindling all with sudden blaze, the glad deep sparkled wide and bright. White as the sun, far, far more fair than its divided sources were. And even for that spirit seer I've watched and sought my lifetime long, sought him in heaven, hell, earth and air, an endless search and always wrong. Had I but seen his glorious eye once, light the clouds that wilder me, I never have raised this coward cry to cease to think and cease to be. I never called oblivion blessed, nor stretching eager hands to death, implored to change for senseless rest their sentient soul this living breath. Oh, let me die, that power and will their cruel strife may close, and conquered good and conquering ill be lost in one repose.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's sick.
That's a good plan.
What page?
7.
Yo, let me say real quick because did I miss something about these the 3 things?
The thing you read was Sons of Experience, right?
Yeah. But at some point I'm probably just gonna reread like the small bits because I think yeah, it's just the 3 goals thing is interesting.
As you were reading that one, I found another one here that is called Philosophy.
What do they mean by Chinese style poems?
The actual structure.
Ah.
Four. This is Japanese structure. These poems here are called Waka poem.
Which is to say,
I don't know.
are these separate things each?
Oh well, no, you're right. I think this is one. This is one. That's one. One.
Love's philosophy, not philosophy.
Ah, okay.
Very cool poem. Very awesome poem.
The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single, all things in by a law divine. In one spirit meet and mingle, why not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower will be forgiven, if it disdain its brother. And the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work worth, if thou kiss not me?
It's really interesting.
That's a good point.
I've heard some before.
Emily Dickinson wrote a poem that's almost the exact same thing.
I mean, that sentiment.
It's literally like I could even find it. I won't find it now because it's in like one of the first few pages of that book up there. But it's like it's so similar that it's actually kind of uncanny.
I mean, she might have been inspired, or he might have been inspired by her. I don't know if it was you that I don't know if I told you the story of how Góngora, the Spanish poet, was praising the Italian, one of the most famous Italian poets that I don't remember the name, but he was praising this Italian poet for a poem that historians found that he plagiarized from Góngora. So Góngora was reading a poem from a guy that basically copy pasted his poem, and he did not remember the poem he wrote. He was like, "This man is a genius," you know.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant.
O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being, thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven like ghosts from an enchanted flea, yellow and black and pale and hectic red, pestilence striking multitudes, O thou who chariotest to their dark wintry bed. The winged seeds where they lie, cold and low, each like a corpse within its grave, until thine azure sister of the spring shall blow her clarion o'er the dreaming earth, and feel driving sweet buzz like flocks to feed in air, with living how do you pronounce that? Hues,
Yeah.
and others, plain and hill, wild spirit, which art moving everywhere, destroyer and preserver, here, oh here, those on whose stream meet the steep sky's commotion, loose clouds like earth's decaying, leaves unshed, suck from the tangled boughs of heaven and ocean, angels of rain and lightning, they are spread like the bright hair uplifted from the head of some fierce Maenad, even from the dim verge of the horizon to the zenith's height, the locks of the approaching storm, thou dirge of the dying year, to which this closing night will be the dawn of a vast sepulchre. Black rain and fire and hail will burst, oh here, thou who didst waken from his summer dreams, the blue Mediterranean, here he lay, lulled by the coil of his crystalline streams, beside a pumice isle in Bai's Bay. And so in sleep all palaces and towers quivering with the waves in denser day, all overgrown with azure moss and flowers, so sweet the sense faints picturing them, though for whose path the Atlantic's level powers cleave themselves into calm chasms, while far below the sea blossoms and the oozy woods which wear the supplest foliage of the ocean know thy voice, and suddenly grow dry with fear and tremble and spoil themselves, so here. If I were a dead leaf thou mightest bear, if I were a swift cloud to fly with thee, a wave to pant beneath thy power and share the impulse of thy strength, only less free than thou, O uncontrollable, If even I were as in my boyhood, and could be the comrade of thy wanderings over heaven, and then with to outstrip thy skyey speed, scarce seen the vision I would near have striven. As thus with thee in prayer, in my sore need, oh lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud, I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed. A heavy weight of hours has chained and bowed one too like thee. I just realized that I have plagiarized that verse without knowing. A heavy weight of hours has chained and bowed. One too like thee, thumbs and swift and proud. Make me thy lyre, even as the forest is. What if my leaves are falling like its own? The tumult of thy mighty harmonies will take from both a deep autumnal tone. Sweet thou in sadness, be thou spirit fierce, my spirit, be thou me, impetus one. Drive my dead thoughts over the universe, like withered leaves to quicken a new birth. And by the incantation of this verse scatter, and as from an unextinguished heart, ashes and sparks, my words among mankind. Be through my lips to awaken earth, the trumpet of a prophecy, O wind. If winter comes, can spring be far behind?
That ode to the West Wind,
Yes.
the big one,
Awesome poem.
A very good poem.
with a large cheese as it were.
Give me an idea what that says. And
An
expressed.
I'm most depressed. Feeblest and most depressed.
Ah, okay, alright, interesting. Let's see.
Another short one. Here, simply titled Snow.
Yeah.
All my life, false and real, right and wrong, tangled. Playing with the moon, ridiculing wind, listening to birds. Many years wasted seeing the mountain covered with snow. This winter, I suddenly realized snow makes a mountain.
That's cool. That's very cool.
This guy has many poems dedicated to other poets. Has one to Byron, one to Wordsworth.
Any to any of these guys?
Huh?
To any of these guys?
That's what I'm looking for. Otherwise, I still want to check these two because I have Wordsworth there, and I have Byron. Like we basically gave up Byron for this guy.
Yeah, that's true.
So
This is kind of cool. I think I at least haven't read it. This is Proverbs of Hell. To keep it light. In seed time learn, in harvest teach, in winter enjoy. Drive your cart and plough over the bones of the dead. The road of excess leads to a palace of wisdom. Prudence is a rich, ugly old maid courted by incapacity. He who desires but acts not breeds pestilence. The cut worm forgives the plough. Dip him in the river who loves water. A fool sees not the same tree that a wise man sees. He whose face gives no light shall never become a star. Eternity is in love with the productions of time. The busy bee has no time for sorrow. The hours of folly are measured by the clock, but of wisdom no clock can measure. All wholesome food is caught without a net or a trap. Bring out number, weight, and measure in the year of death. No bird soars too high if he soars with his own wings. A dead body revenges not injuries. The most sublime act is to set another before you. If the fool would persist in his folly, he would become wise. Folly is the cloak of knavery. Shame is pride's cloak. Prisons are built with stones of law, brothels with bricks of religion. The pride of the peacock is the glory of God. The lust of the goat is the bounty of God. The wrath of the lion is the wisdom of God. The nakedness of women is the work of God. Excess of sorrow laughs, excess of joy weeps. The roaring of lions, the howling of wolves, the raging of the stormy sea, and the destructive sword are portions of eternity too great for the eye of man. The fox condemns the trap, not himself. Joy is impregnate, sorrows bring forth. Let man wear the fell of the lion, woman the fleece of the sheep. The bird a nest, the spider a web, man friendship, and the selfish smiling fool and the sullen frowning fool, shall both be thought wise, that they may be a rod. What is now proved was once only imagined. The rat, the mouse, the fox, the rabbit, watch the roots. The lion, the tiger, the horse, the elephant, watch the fruits. The cistern contains, the fountain overflows. One thought fills immensity. Always be ready to speak your mind, and the base man will avoid you. Everything possible to be believed is an image of truth. The eagle never lost so much time as when he submitted to learn of the crow. The fox provides himself, but God provides for the lion. Think in the morning, act in the noon, eat in the evening, sleep in the night. He who has suffered you to impose on him knows you. As the plough follows words, so God rewards prayers. The tigers of wrath are wiser than the horses of instruction. Expect poison from the standing water. You never know what is enough unless you know what is more than enough. Listen to the fool's reproach. It is a kingly title. The eyes of fire, the nostrils of air, the mouth of water, the beard of earth. The weak in courage is strong and cunning. The apple tree never asks the beech how he shall grow, nor the lion the horse how he shall take his prey. The thankful receiver bears a plentiful harvest. If others had not been foolish, we should be so. The soul of sweet delight can never be defiled. When thou seest an eagle, thou seest a portion of genius. Lift up thy head. As the caterpillar chooses the fairest leaves to lay her eggs, so the priest lays his curse on the fairest joys. To create a little flower is the labour of ages. Damn braces, bless relaxes. The best wine is the oldest, the best water is the newest. Prayers plough not, praises reap not. Joy laughs not, sorrow weeps not. The head of sublime, the heart pathos, the genitals beauty, the hands and feet proportion. As the air to a bird or the sea to a fish, so is contempt to the contemptible. The crow wished everything was black, the owl that everything was white. Exuberance is beauty. If the lion was advised by the fox, he'd be cunning. Improvement makes straight roads, but the crooked roads without improvement are roads of genius. Sooner murder an infant in its cradle than nurse unattacked desires. Where man is not, nature is barren. Truth can never be told so as to be understood and not believed. Enough or too much.
That was a good. I like that one a lot. That's
Cool
good.
poem.
That's called Proverbs of Hell. So a bunch of fucking... I fuck with that. I think it's a cool poem. That's a nice one. Like, the crooked roads without improvement are roads of genius. I'm always a fan of people saying that the foolishness is wise. I like that shit.
Yeah,
I'm always a fan of that shit. Because it's true. I guess so. Okay, no.
I have a very strange 4 lines. Oh, in olden days when I was not yet awakened, the sound of a painted horn was the sound of sorrow. Now on my pillow there is no idle dream. Letting go, plum blossoms blow vast and small.
Can you see that one? Where is it? Oh.
This is a really short one, the Wildflowers song. As I wandered the forest, the green leaves among, I heard a wildflower singing a song. I slept in the earth in the silent night. I murmured my fears and I felt delight. In the morning I went, as rosy as morn, to seek for new joy, but I met with scorn.
Sleep if you were tired, in praise of the way of the mountain.
Soft snow.
This is...
XXX soft
This
snow.
is actually
What was that called? Oh, right.
Quite astounding.
Yeah, it's actually... I mean, it's just something, I don't know. It's an amazing poem.
Is Shelley family with Mary Shelley?
Nah.
To
That's
Mary
a-
Shelley. It says
Big
to
no.
Mary Shelley.
Yeah, to Mary Shelley.
Oh, maybe.
I need to know that shit. Like,
That would
because
be
like then it's a family that basically is like
genius.
That's another-
Mary
yeah,
Wollstonecraft, you know, Mary Shelley,
Is Mary was come from Mary Shelley? Oh,
It's the mother.
That's true.
and
Is
also
that-
the other guy, the anarchist, which I mean is not super famous, but he was also kind of known in his time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't remember the name.
But if I don't think they're related, but if they are related, that's gonna be fucking insane.
Yeah. Then the Bronte sisters have
Yeah.
some.
Yeah, Mary, Shelley.
Yeah, have another mafia of.
Yeah.
Shit, I cannot say
Mary,
that.
Percy, and Mary again.
To Mary Sally. The world is dreary and I am weary of wandering on without thee, Mary. A joy was erewhile in thy voice and thy smile, and 'tis gone when I should be gone too, Mary.
Right, so what? Would Mary be his mother or someone else?
We don't know actually. We don't know yet. Alright, check it. I need to read one of these. I'm reading. I'm listening. You guys want to talk about. Let's see. Pick a random one. Oh, someone's underlined a line in this one. Alright.
Oh,
Let's see this.
listen,
I mean,
at least one good line. Then.
I mean, the line is pretty weird. The line just says, "Her smiles of love caressed." That's like the most enough. I mean, whatever. Right. So this poem is called "Song." The linnet in the rocky dells, the moorlark in the air, the bee among the heather bells that hide my lady fair. The wild deer browse above her breast, the wild birds raise their brood, and they have her smiles of love caressed, have left their solitude. I ween that when the grave's dark wall did first her form retain, they thought their hearts could ne'er recall the light of joy again. They thought the tide of grief would flow unchecked through future years, but where is all their anguish now, and where are all their tears? Well, let them fight for honour's breath, or pleasure's shade pursued. The dweller in the land of death is changed and careless too. And if their eyes should watch and weep till sorrow's source were dry, she would not, in her tranquil sleep, return a single sigh. Blow, west wind, by the lonely mound, and murmur summer streams. There is no need of other sound to soothe my lady's dreams.
That was nice.
That was nice.
Very nice.
It's a sweet poem. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the?
Is Song on page 15. I've got to read that one again in my mind. Sigh.
You can read it aloud.
Again? Alright.
Yeah, if you wanna reread it, like there's no use on reading in silence today. You know.
Huh? No, that's true. That's true.
We'll have to go mad together.
Okay, I'll read this bit slower. The linnet in the rocky dells, the moorlark in the air, the bees among the heather bells that hide my lady fair. The wild deer browse above her breast, the wild birds raise their brood, and they have, her smiles love caressed, have left their solitude. I ween that when the grave's dark wall did first her form retain, they thought her hearts could ne'er recall the light of joy again. They thought the tide of grief would flow unchecked through future years. But where is all their anguish now, and where are all their tears? Well, let them fight for honour's breath or pleasure's shade pursue. The dweller in the land of death is changed and careless too. And if their eyes should watch and weep till sorrow's source were dry, she would not, in her tranquil sleep, return a single sigh. Blow, west wind, by the lonely mound, and murmur summer streams. There is no need of other sound to soothe my lady's dreams.
What's it called?
Yeah, fuck yeah. It's called Song.
Oh.
Yeah.
What was the line about death again? So yeah, line about death. Line says death.
The line about death. Or the standard. Well, let them fight for honour's breath, or pleasure's shade pursue. The dweller in the land of death is changed and careless too.
This is the last poem on Songs of Innocence, called Voice of the Ancient Bard.
Is this? Have you already?
No, it's the other one, Songs of Innocence. Youth of delight, come hither and see the opening morn, image of the truth newborn. Doubt is fled and clouds of reason, dark disputes and artful teasing. Folly is an endless maze, tangled roots perplex her ways. How many have fallen there? They stumble all night over bones of the dead, and feel they know not what but care, and wish to lead others when they should be led. That's it. Interesting.
That's interesting.
It's kind of a bit preachy.
I know. Yeah. It seems very much. I mean, of course, it is the same thing. It's the same Call of Innocence, but yeah, that was alright.
him to intellectual beauty.
Him to intellectual beauty.
That sounds cool.
That sounds incredibly pretentious, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
It
that
does, it
sounds. Haha. Mrs. Bot.
Gone.
Gone. Get fucked, Mrs. Bot.
Oh, yeah. The awful shadow of some unseen power floats through unseen among us, visiting this various world with us in constant wind, as summer winds that creep from flower to flower. Like moonbeams that behind some pinny mountain tower it visits with inconstant glance, its human heart and countenance. Like hues and harmonies of evening, like clouds of in starlight widely spread, like memory of music fled, like aught that for its grace might be dear, and yet dearer for its misery. Spirit of beauty, that does consecrate. With thine own hues all thou dost shine upon, of human thought or form, where art thou gone? Why dost thou pass away, and leave our state? This dim vast veil of tears, vacant and desolate, ask why the sunlight not forever waves rainbows o'er yon mountain river. Why aught should fail and fade that once is sown? Why fear and dream and death and birth cast on the daylight of this earth? Such a gloom, why man has such a scope for love and hate, despondency and hope? No voice from the sublimer world hath ever to sage or poet these responses given. Therefore the names of demon ghosts and heaven remain the records of their vain endeavor. Frail spells whose uttered charm might not avail to sever from all we hear and all we see, doubt, chance, and mutability. Thy light alone, like mist on air mountains driven, or music by the night wind sent, through strings of some still instrument, or moonlight on a midnight stream, gives grace and truth to life's unquiet dream. Love, hope, and self-esteem, like clouds depart, and come for some uncertain moments left. The man were immortal and omnipotent. This thou, unknown and awful as thou art, keep with thy glorious train firm state within his heart, thou messenger of sympathies that wax wane in lover's sighs, though that to human thought art nourishment, like darkness to a dying flame. Depart not as thy shadow came, depart not lest the grave should be, like like life and fear, a dark reality. While yet a boy, I sought for ghost and spade. Through many a listening chamber, cave a ruin, a starlight wood, with fearful steps, pursuing hopes of high talk with the departed dead. I call on poisonous names with which our youths fed. I was not heard, I saw them not, when musing deeply on the lot of life, at that sweet time when winds are wooing all vital things that wake to bring news of birds and blossoming. Sudden thy shadow fell on me. I shrieked and clasped my hands in ecstasy. I vowed that I would dedicate my powers to thee and thine. Have I not kept the vow? With beating heart and streaming eyes, even now, I call the phantoms of 1,000 hours, each from his boyless grave. They have envisioned bowers of studious seal of law or love's delight, outwatch with me the envious night. They know that never joy illuminate my brow, unlinked with hope that thou would free this world from its dark slavery, that thou, awful loveliness, wouldst give me whatever these words cannot express. The day becomes more solemn and serene when noon is past. There is a harmony in autumn and a lustre in its sky, which through the summer is not heard or seen, and if it could not be, as if it had not been. Thus let thy power, which like the truth of nature of my passive youth descended to my own world life supply, its calm to one who worships thee, and every form contained in thee, whom, spirit fair, thy spells did bind, to fear himself, and love for humankind. I think I have to reread this. I was completely distracted halfway through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's some cool bits in that I don't really. I suppose I'll have to read it as well because I don't really see how that is a hymn to intellectual.
Also,
beauty.
by the way, just for the future,
Oh no, this is not the hymn.
when it says when it's
yeah, it was.
when
It
it
was.
says the
Yeah, it
word,
was.
just for future, like THOU, it's thou, not thou. So
Wait. Where is that?
so it says for like
Thou.
why? Yeah, so that's not thou. Sorry, it's thou. So why
Thou.
does thou pass away?
Thou.
That makes
yeah,
it.
thou.
Yeah, that's
It's thine and thou.
yeah, thine and thou. Yeah.
okay. Please do that all the time because like
Was in
I cannot know if some people doesn't tell me, and most people is like obviously most people doesn't dare say that.
They want to.
Yeah.
They want to. They think they're being rude or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course
It's
not.
the other way around.
Yeah.
It's the other way around. I only speak English because there were people that were rude enough to tell me, you know.
But yeah, I mean it's annoying also because thou and thou are spelled exactly the same.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you have to know contextually.
And plus, Shelley is writing in very old English.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It's not awesome, but yeah.
Like,
it is,
2 years ago, I would not be able to read this.
Yeah, which is good progress.
Which is very good progress.
Yeah, I mean the fact that you can even read it out, as we've all said already, poetry and humour are the highest levels of
Yeah.
a language.
Although humor was my gateway drug to English.
Good, that's perfect.
Like
that's
I
perfect,
did not
brilliant.
learn. It was American English, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I would
like,
not have
just now,
learned
just now.
English if it weren't for like Bill Hicks, Louis C.K.,
The comedians.
Doug Stanhope, and George Carlin.
Yeah, but I think because it's different with those guys in the sense that like because you're watching a stand-up, it's sort of made so it's easy to get the joke. Whereas it's like, in my opinion, you're not truly fluent in a language until you can talk. So like, for example, you're not truly fluent in English until you could talk to a bunch of English people and like get the jokes that they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's different to watching a stand-up. Like
I guess there are exceptions to that because, like, I can imagine English people that speak perfect English that can get your jokes, for example.
Yeah, that's because
that
they're
happens-
fucking
that
idiots.
happens all the
Yeah.
time.
I mean, anyone who doesn't get our jokes is literally illiterate. It's not. It's not like they're. It's not like they're like
It's just
comedy.
an
You know.
But like like in the sense of like okay yeah someone might not get our jokes but there's a very sort of English way of doing humour and there's probably also like a very Spanish way of doing humour. Very
Yeah. But no, but the
American.
English way of doing humor is way harder to get than the American way of doing
Yeah,
humor.
of course.
Yeah.
Or than the Australian or
Well,
the Canadian.
England obviously England's famous for having very particular.
We were having
Yeah.
this conversation the other day. It's like the difference with English humour is the sense that like I could be having a conversation with you the same and like in the conversation I can make like 10 different subtle jokes but he's not supposed to laugh at them.
Yeah.
I just made them.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to laugh at them. They're not supposed to be. They're not made to be laughed at. It's just like
Yeah.
you just notice it and you go that's like.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing I noticed is like English people doesn't have like a culture of laughing in general.
Yeah.
Like they will make a joke that they find super funny, and then but most people will be like, "Ah."
They just register the fact that a joke has been made.
Yeah,
It's like-
for me it's like I laugh and I laugh
it's
very
like,
loud. when find
I
something funny.
acknowledge that your joke was
Yeah.
well fucking thought out, but I'm not gonna laugh at it. I'm not gonna laugh at it because that's like I'm not some sort of Luddite. I'm not some sort of fucking monkey ape that has to sort of show his emotions like that.
Yeah, well, I'm a fucking monkey, man.
Yeah, it's quite difficult with this guy's poems because I think that a lot of these, despite the fact that you can read some of these poems in themselves, a lot of these are sort of like a whole narrative in a poem, and that you sort of get the whole point once you understand like what's actually happening in the whole narrative. And they have like characters and stuff that represent different things. Like, this is a whole fucking. This is a whole thing basically.
interest.
Is it?
to check
A
out
whole
the
thing?
It's a
introduction.
whole thing, bro. It's
That's
a
the
whole
most,
thing.
that's the most
Wow.
Asian
That's the whole
introduction
thing.
line I've ever seen in my life.
Hellas. Hellas is fucking hell big, long. It has a preface.
Monk,
Really shit.
mountain, monastery.
Yeah, I'm going to read this one out. Zen master Minghui of Zisheng Monastery of Mount Xudu, Guiyang Prefecture, is an heir of Beita Huangzu. His initial name is priest Zongxian. Once he said, "Reaching out with your arms is climbing the 10,000-foot cliff. Oneness and differentiation are not necessarily fixed. The old lapis lazuli hall brightly illuminates the moon. A fierce dog tiptoes up the stairs for nothing."
That's hella Asian, bro. I have no idea.
Gotta be Asian.
You see,
I'm not going to reply
I'm
about
laughing.
that.
Yeah, exactly. I was
Very
gonna
bright
say-
with that.
I think it's.
Yeah, I do.
I don't
It's
want to say.
uncivilized.
When I mean too obvious, I
I'm one
don't
of
mean
those
to be
civilized
like,
things to
oh, I
do.
completely get it because obviously it's a lot there. But I mean, it's like. Yeah. That's how. Yeah, I mean, he should be called a skin bag who has mastered his study. A skin bag.
that sounds super racist.
Yeah, it sounds like a fucking slur. Yeah.
Fucking skin bag. Isn't that what Clint Eastwood says to the Asian guy in Gran Torino?
Does he
Like,
call him a skin bag?
We used to make sandbags sandbags with your skin.
Yeah, I haven't watched Gran Torino in a long time, so.
Oh, I watched it the other day with Chrissy. Hadn't watched any Clint Eastwood film,
That's the only one I've watched.
so I showed her the two best.
Well, Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Huh?
Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and Gran
Nah,
Torino.
Good About the Ugly is like the best if you're a film student.
Okay,
The best are the two most enjoyable is Gran Torino and $1 Million Baby.
I haven't watched it. I don't know about
It's
The
it.
one about the
fucking
boxing
good.
or something.
It's about boxing, yeah.
Ah, okay.
It's also my favorite boxing film. Not
Oh,
the best.
wait, better than Rocky 4.
Rocky might be the best.
No, I
Again,
was
for
being ironic.
film students.
No, I'm joking.
Blah, blah,
I've
blah.
never watched Rocky, and I never will watch Rocky.
Yeah, same. I never will watch Rocky.
You have never watched Rocky?
I don't care
No,
about
I
Rocky.
literally have. There is not a single. I'm not saying anything bad, Rocky. There is not a single driving motivation in
For you
the
to
depths of
watch
my
Rocky,
soul
yeah.
that makes you want to actively go and watch Rocky.
I
There's
feel
not
the
a
same
single
way
thing-
about The Godfather, except that
Yeah. No, you really watch Godfather though. It's different.
I fell asleep every single time I watched The Godfather.
Oh.
Every single time I watched The Godfather, I fell asleep.
That's like a spear in my heart. Yeah.
I for some reason I'm more lazy to watch canonic films just because they're canonic than I am to read canonic books just because they're canonic.
Yeah.
Because like in a book it's never just a story.
Mm.
But in a film
It
kind of is.
And in a film, and unlike a book where a book there's a certain amount that because you have to put yourself into it, there's a certain amount of introduction that means that like you can make yourself enjoy it. But with a film, it's giving you everything. It's giving you the images,
Yeah,
giving you
yeah.
the ideas, the dialogue, the context, everything's you know.
So there's like it's not so much it's never the experience of watching the film. It's either a film is good or not.
What's never the experience?
Like you don't fall inside the film and like there are books that you don't enjoy reading
Yeah.
and yet you finish them and you love them.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
yeah,
Moby
okay.
Dick, for me my favorite thing about Moby Dick was the feeling of disorientation throughout the whole book.
Yeah, I mean these are this is like fiction or non-fiction. Like,
But I've never been like I don't know. I wasn't watching the Color of Pomegranates and thinking like, oh, I don't know what the fuck is going on there. This is so good, you know.
Yeah.
It was more
You're
like
just like I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what's happening. Okay, yes. So you glued a lot of books to a wall.
Yeah, pretty
Because
sweet, I
it
guess.
looks kind of,
it's
yeah,
nice and aesthetic. It's a
intellectual.
great shot. But
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That the girl's hot. Yeah,
which one?
there was a girl at some point that was hot. It's a long movie. You think they're having any secret
actually,
code
yeah,
or-
I mean, actually, it's a movie that's an hour and a half, but it may as well be.
I
Like
can
4
say
hours.
that about any movie and it would always be true.
What, there's a hot girl in it?
Yeah.
What about? I actually can't think of movies. No,
Ah.
I can't think of movies. I think one you haven't watched it. What's it called? Chevalier. Yarden.
Huh?
Do you remember the movie about 6 guys on a boat and they're trying to compete to see who's the best man?
The best man.
Yeah, like six friends on like a boat for like a couple weeks.
The loser is the hot girl.
Say it.
I vaguely remember this.
Say
The
it.
loser is the hot girl in that movie.
The what is?
Whoever loses
Oh.
that competition is the hot girl in the movie.
I don't remember what it's called, but I remember what we were talking about.
Yeah, they just started inventing like all of these
Random
different
like
metrics.
metrics to decide who the best
Yeah,
man is.
like who sleeps the straightest.
Yeah.
Who has more hair?
Who has no? That is actually one of them, I think. Yeah, like who has better thicker hair and stuff. It's a very amusing film.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. Him to intellectual beauty, I'm gonna reread you, so I'm gonna put a question mark.
I'm gonna reread The Tiger real quick. This is maybe the one that you might remember from when I was just blasting through songs of experience.
Tiger, burning
But
bright.
this is I'm reading it again, and this is like I realize this is like his most famous poem, basically, right?
Oh.
This
Yeah,
one.
yeah, because I've heard that.
The
line.
Tiger.
Tiger.
I have
burning
not
bright,
read the fucking Tiger. Are you sure?
Yeah,
It's
actually,
not
like
famous?
it's so famous that when I heard it,
Yeah, you remember it.
heard him say that, I was like, oh, that sounds so abused.
555.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
There's but I'll read it
It's cool poem.
again so it makes sense, I guess.
It's just like 8 pages. Isn't it?
No,
It's
actually
literally
like
like it's like hella
sweet.
short. There's Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? And what the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil? What dread grasp? Dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry?
Is this? I mean, that's a cool poem. But is this just a poem? Just being like, tigers are fucking sick.
No.
I highly doubt it.
Look
I
at the
highly-
footnotes.
No,
Yeah, I
I'll read
imagine
the
it's
footnotes a
probably-
bit.
It is about Tiger.
I think
it's
that-
about
I think that
can't be done by, like, you know, the theological undertone.
Yeah. I mean, in the sense of like,
yeah,
what else could have made such a creature?
yeah, I think Tiger.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's what. But then he's also like, hey, yo, like, the guy who made the lamb also make you. How'd that
Yeah.
make any sense, bro?
I like the bit about the hammer and the chain and stuff.
Yeah, what hammer, what chain, what furnace was
I
like.
guess
bro?
if it's the most famous, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, this is the
Tiger, huh?
it's just called the Tiger.
The Tiger.
There's one I want to read, or there's two, but I'll pick one. Would you rather
Read the two.
read both of them?
Of course.
Well, I said, yeah. So there's a short one which looks interesting, and there's a little bit of a longer one that has a bunch of underlined bits, and it's also like a narrative.
Please, I'm using it.
Alright, this is called.
Pardon me?
This longer one is called "The Prisoner," a fragment.
Of who?
The Prisoner, a fragment.
A fragment, okay.
In the dungeon crypts idly did I stray, reckless of the lives wasting thereaway. Draw the ponderous bars, open, warder stern. He dared not say me nay, the hinges harshly turn. Our guests are darkly lodged, I whispered, gazing through the vault, whose grated eyes showed heaven more grey than blue. This was when glad spring laughed in waking pride. I, darkly lodged enough, returned to my solemn guide. Then God forgive my youth, forgive my careless tongue. I scoffed at the chill change on the damp flagstones rung. Confined in triple walls, art thou so much to fear, that we must bind thee down and clench thy fetters here? The captive raised her face. It was as soft and mild as sculptured marble saint, or slumbering unweaned child. It was so soft and mild, so sweet and fair, pain could not trace a line, nor grief a shadow there. The captive raised her hand and pressed it to her brow. I have been struck, she said, and I am suffering now. Yet these are little worth, your bolt and iron strong, and were they forged in steel, they could not hold me long. Hoarse laughed the jailer grim. Shall I be one to hear? Dost think, fond dreaming wretch, that I shall grant thy prayer? Or better still, will melt my master's heart with groans? Ah, sooner might the sun thaw down these granite stones. My master's voice is low, his aspect bland and kind, but hard as hardest flint the soul that lurks behind. And I am rough and rude, and yet not more rough to see than is the hidden ghost that has its home in me. About her lips there played a smile of almost scorn. My friend, she gently said, you have not heard me mourn. When you my kindred's lives, my lost life, can restore, then I may weep and sue, but never friend before. Still let my tyrants know I am not doomed to wear year after year in gloom and desolate despair. A messenger of hope comes every night to me and offers short life, eternal liberty. He comes with western winds and evening's wandering airs, with that clear dusk of heaven that brings the thicker stars. Winds take a pensive tone, and stars attend to fire, and visions rise and change that kill me with desire. Desire for nothing known in my mature years, when joy grew mad with awe at counting future tears. When my spirit sky was full of flashes warm, I knew not whence they came, from sun or thunderstorm. But first a hush of peace, a soundless calm descends. The struggle of distress and fierce impatience ends. Mute music soothed my breast, unuttered harmony that I could never dream till earth was lost to me. Then dawns the invisible, the unseen its truth reveals. My outward sense is gone, my inward sense feels. Its wings are almost free, its home, its harbour found. Measuring the gulf, it stoops and dares the final bound. Oh, dreadful is the cheek, intense the agony, when the ear begins to hear and the eye begins to see, when the pulse begins to throb and the brain to think again, the soul to feel flesh and the flesh to feel the change. Yet I would lose no sting, would wish no torture less, the more that anguish racks the early it will bless, and robes in fire of hell, or bright with heavenly shine, if but herald death, the vision is divine. She ceased to speak, and we unanswering turned to go. We had no further power to work the captive woe. Her cheek, her gleaming eye, declared that man had given a sentence unapproved and overruled by heaven. That's kind of dope. I get down with that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah, alright, cool. I get that.
The harder bit was very cool.
The harder bit. Where it says the word hard. Ah, yeah. I think that was very, very cool.
Do you want to read the short one, huh?
Oh, yeah. So I think I lost that.
Yeah, there's all of it.
Well, my comforter, here we go.
I envy the clarity of that book.
Say it?
I envy the clarity of that book.
Yeah, I know. Compared to these ones, it's just
Yeah,
very,
that
very
is-
simple. Yeah.
I got to get complete works of each of these poets on
Or with this sort
like
of
a new edition with like that form.
Yeah, same. I like that.
Plus, just a nice colour for a book.
Yeah, because I'm gonna give this one back.
You've always
Yeah,
had.
this is not a nice looking book.
Y-
Visually, those.
Just like I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna give them back, mainly because I can get new editions, and
Yeah, you can get new much more easily.
and this you can see in like as you go through them, you can see that the students use them. You know,
Yes.
like someone who cannot afford a book and doesn't know that books can be stole, like we know.
Yeah, doesn't know you don't need to afford a book.
Yeah, because
Doesn't have the enlightened knowledge.
Yeah.
Like us.
doesn't know robbery. Yeah. So yeah, like
Yeah. I see what you mean. I mean, like. Okay, no, don't worry. Alright, this is called My Comforter. Well, hast thou spoken and not yet taught a feeling strange or new? Thou hast but roused a latent thought, a cloud-closed beam of sunshine brought to gleam in. Okay, let me start again. Fish and chips book.
relationships.
Well, hast thou spoken and not yet taught a feeling strange or new? Thou hast but aroused the latent thought, a cloud-closed beam of sunshine brought to gleam in open view. Deep down concealed within my soul, that light lies hid from men, yet glows unquenched, though shadows roll its gentle rays cannot control about the sullen dead. Was I not vexed in these gloomy ways to walk alone so long? Around me wretches uttering praise are howling over their hopeless days, and each with frenzy's tongue. A brotherhood of misery, their smiles as sad as sighs, whose madness daily maddened me, distorting into agony the bliss before my eyes. So stood I in heaven's glorious sun and in the glare of hell. My spirit drank a mingled tone of seraph song and demon's moan. What my soul bore, my soul alone within itself may tell. Like a soft air above a sea tossed by the tempest stir, a thaw winged, melting quietly the snow drift on some wintry lea. No, what sweet thing resembles thee, my thoughtful comforter? And yet a little longer speak, calm this resentful mood, while the savage heart grows meek, for other tokens do not seek, but let the tear upon my cheek evince my gratitude.
Sam, we'll have to read that again though.
Yeah, it's more complex.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot. There's so many fucking characters, bro. So many random characters that I don't remember what they were supposed to represent or anything. Who's Loss or Loz?
I mean, people does fucking PhDs of these guys, so.
I mean, I know who Urizen is. Right.
I might venture out into the outside world
Yeah.
for a bit.
20%.
The closest.
It's not too fresh out of there today. Chris is actually a good thing.
Come be happy. The end. Come be happy to sit near me. Shadow-vested misery. Coy and willing, silent bride, mourning in thy robe of pride. Desolation deified. Come be happy, sit near me. Sad as my sin to thee. I am happier than thou. I am happier far than thou. I am happier far than thou. Lady whose imperial brow is brow.
No, thou. I'm happier than thou.
Thou, yeah, okay, yeah. I am happier far than thou. Lady whose imperial brow, now it makes sense, now there's a rhyme, is ending with woe.
And I've literally never seen that word in my
Yeah.
life.
Endymion,
And diademed, probably.
endiademed with woe. Misery, we have known each other like a sister and a brother, living in the same lone home many years. We must live some hours of ages yet to come. 'Tis an evil lot, and yet let us make the best of it. If love can live when pleasure dies, we too will love till in your eyes 'tis heart's hell and sin paradise. Come be happy, lie thee down on the fresh grass newly mown, where the grasshopper doth sing merrily one joyous thing in a world of sorrowing. There our tent shall be the willow, and mine arms shall be thy pillow. Sound and odor sorrowful, because they once were sweet shall lull us to slumber, deep and dull. Ha, thy frozen pulses flutter with a love thou darest thou darest not utter. Thou art murmuring, thou art weeping, is thine icy bosom leaping, while my burning heart lies sleeping? Kiss me, oh, thy lips are cold, round my neck thine arms enfold, they are soft but chill and dead, and thy tears upon my head burn like points of frozen lead. Hasten to the bridal bed.
Oh,
Underneath-
sorry, that was lead, not lead. Because that's lead like the metal.
Yes. Hasten to the bridal bed. Underneath the grave 'tis spread. In darkness may our love be hid. Oblivion be our coverlid. We may rest and none forbid. Clasp me till our hearts have grown like two shadows into one. Till this dreadful transport may like a vapor fade away in the sleep that lasts alway. We might dream in that long sleep that we are not those who weep, in such pleasure dreams of thee. Life deserting misery, thou mightst dream of her with me. Let us laugh and make our mirth at the shadows of the earth, as dogs spy on the moonlight clouds, which like spectres, wrapped in shrouds, pass on our night in multitudes. All the wide world beside us, so like multitudinous puppets passing from a scene. What but mockery can they mean? Where I am, where thou hast been. Once again, I have to reread this shit.
That's a cool. I like her a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of got for the most part what I think. It's an
He's
interesting
talking
idea.
to Misery.
But it's an interesting idea where Shelley's a guy, right? He's at least the way I sort of understood it is that he's basically like, there's a certain point at which you become so acquainted with misery that you find the only way to escape misery is to love the misery itself, right? Is to sort of imbibe the misery, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like,
It's kind of based.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, there's not a good idea to do, but it's a nice different point. Where it's like I'm gonna become this misery, and then it will seem beautiful for whatever reason.
I might, in a bit, sit on this side so that for like these longer poems, because these guys are quite long poems, I can like, while you're reading it, I can also follow it so that I can like having subtitles or something.
Okay. I can sit there when you read.
Okay. Alright. So this I can read some stuff from because it's very easy to explain what this is. Basically, like the poems from this bit are called the Book of Urizen, right? And so basically, this guy has this sort of mythology or whatever that he's created across many poems, right? In which he basically envisions the entire universe as being like a man, right? Or basically being like a single man, right? And the man has different elements, right? 4 main elements, which is Urizen, some other shit, right? But I forgot their names, right? Basically, they represent the 4 main tenets that sort of balance out to become man, right? And so there's one of them which is passion, one of them represents passion, one of them is compassion, one of them is wrath, and then Urizen is like thought and reason, right? And in the mythology, like when one sort of dominates the others, right? Then the entirety of the man, and hence the entire universe, starts to sort of decompose and collapse, right? And basically falls into ruin, right? And in the book, or in his mythology, I guess, Urizen, the part of the aspect of man that represents reason, starts to dominate all the others, and so it sort of tries to dominate the other aspects of man, to dominate the compassionate aspects, the wrathful aspects, and the passionate aspects of man, using like reason and thought. And so I guess all the poems in this are sort of like
About that.
related to that, right? I think that's kind of cool. It's hella fucking esoteric, but yeah. We'll fucking go on. Let's go. Chapter 1 not long. Alright, good. Lo, a shadow of horror is risen, in eternity, unknown, unprolific, self-closed, all-repelling. What demon hath formed this abominable void, this soul-shuddering vacuum? Some said, it is Urizen, but unknown, abstracted, brooding secret, the dark power hid. Times on times he divided and measured, space by space in his ninefold darkness, unseen, unknown. Changes appeared in his desolate mountains, rifted furious by the black winds of perturbation. For he strove in battles dire, in unseen conflictions with shapes, bred from his forsaken wilderness of beast, bird, fish, serpent and element, combustion, blast, vapour and cloud. Dark revolving in silent activity, unseen in tormented passions, an activity unknown and horrible, a self-contemplating shadow in enormous labours occupied. But Eternals beheld his vast forests. Ages on ages he lay, closed, unknown, brooding, shut in the deep. All avoid the petrific abominable chaos. His cold horror silent, dark Urizen prepared, his 10,000s of thunders, ranged in gloomed arrays stretched out across the dread world, and the rolling of wheels as of swelling seas sound in his clouds. In his hills of stored snows, in his mountains of hail and ice, voices of terrors are heard like thunders of autumn when the cloud blazes over the harvests.
That's kind of cool. I like it down with that.
It's very sort of dramatic war.
Yeah. Hella sort of what's this? I like these annotations. They're kind of interesting. Like like when it says times on times he divided and measured, space by space is ninefold darkness. The guy put here that the act of a restrictive mind, a contradiction of infinity, because like
So would it write with a pencil?
That's cool.
no, it's the annotations of the guy who made the book.
Ah, cool.
You said-
So I
I was
thought
like-
if
You
some
gotta
wrote
find that person.
Yeah, I
sick.
yeah, and I kind of figured that, but I didn't. I already knew that, but I just wouldn't have written it like that, you know.
Yeah.
No, but I think that that's an interesting way of categorizing the whole deal.
You going up?
I'm gonna go outside, like get some fresh air, and then I may come back, or I may like just wander around campus
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
good.
for a bit.
Right,
I might go to the waterfall. I want to see if it's still going.
Oh,
Did
okay.
you not go at some point?
Hmm?
Was there a point where I was not going?
Yeah, was it dried up?
Oh,
Last time I was there 2 weeks ago, he was going.
Like
If
this?
you mean there was in beginning.
Yeah, no, the one on campus, the small one,
Ah, no. I meant there's a huge one in Virginia Water.
the big one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I assume that one's always like running.
yeah, I think that one because should always be going there.
There is
I'd
one.
be quite worried if it wasn't actually.
What's the mission?
I